Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cactus Patch. I'm your host, Glitch Cactus, but you could call me Cactus. And today we have a very fun and exciting episode. We'll be talking about the up and coming Salmon Run event, Snatch and Run, and who else better to have talk about this event than those helping run this event overall. And we have joining us Leonidas, Pat, and Rachel. Please welcome them, and we'll go in that order. Feel free to introduce yourselves and how you're doing today.
Hey, so my name is Leonidas or Leo. I am kind of the head TO, you could call it, of this tournament we're running called Snatch and Run. I'm also we'll say, high-level overfisher. Um, I have a team called Snooze Button, and we'll be participating in the tournament as well. And yeah,
Amazing.
Um,
Thank you. Pat, on to you.
yep, I am Pat. I am head caster for Dapple Production, and I've also been into Salmon Run, even though I'm not an overfisher. But when Rachel and Leo asked me to come help for this event, I was completely in, and I'm so glad that we get to do that.
Fantastic. And last but not least, Rachel.
Hi, I'm Rachelski, and I stream on Twitch, and I make content on YouTube, always about Salmon Run. And I don't know what else to say. I love Salmon Run, and I love helping run tournaments and events, and I've run quite a few, but I'm really excited about this one. This one's a bit different and a bit special. So yeah, it's good to be here.
Awesome. Well, it is also a pleasure to have all three of you here. So I'd love to start off with a little bit of like an opener question, and we can go in the same order. So basically, the first thing I want to ask is what drew you to Salmon Run in general, and what maybe got you into Splatoon overall, and what made you want to push specifically the salmon aspect? Because obviously, there's so many different ways Splatoon had come with, right? The casual side, the competitive side for things, and I feel like Salmon Run's such an aspect of Splatoon you don't see talked about often. So what was
Mm.
kind of that drive that got you all into Salmon Run and, wanting to push things this far?
yeah, it's definitely a little bit more hidden than the PvP side of things. For me, I started with Splatoon and Splatoon 2 as very much a PvPer. I was not a salmon runner very much at all in Splatoon 2. I kind of played casually on the side.
Hmm.
But in Splatoon 3, I think during the first couple months, I got super into the overfishing server, which is one of the biggest Western salmon run servers. Specifically, of course, it's for overfishing, which if you're not too familiar, the point is to specifically get a very high golden egg score. And I came across through a series of events, somehow I came across my current team in December of 2022. And we kind of all chanced upon each other. We had a very good session of playing Salmon Run. We're getting very high scores, and we're like, oh, maybe we should make a team. And at that time, there's really not very many Salmon Run teams, so this is not like a common thing.
Hmm.
But ever since then, I was actually on a PvP team at the same time, but eventually I got more and more and more into Salmon Run. And when Scenario Codes released, I think that was also in around the same time, December 2022, I was like, "Oh, this is like the perfect thing for tournaments because now it can be fair. And now it doesn't have to rely on RNG for your score." And at that time, even then, I was like, oh, God, someone's got to make a tournament. And it's been so long, but I'm really glad that we finally made it somewhere.
Yes, so I started playing Splatoon 2 during Splatoon 2, during the end of Splatoon 2, actually, right before Chaos versus Order, which was my first Splatfest, was the final one.
Hmm.
And at the time, if my PFP doesn't make it obvious, I was a Charger one trick. I started as a Charger one trick, which I'm a very clumsy person in real life, and I really use the Charger to force myself to take control over my own hands, which worked kinda. But at the time, my only way to like, I really wanted to push the charger. I only wanted to play the charger, and playing other weapons was made possible to me through Salmon Run. So I would play Salmon Run half of my time because I wanted to stay in touch with the other weapons mechanically. And then at some point, I wanted to learn more about the game, and I started to like follow a few Twitch streamers. And my first friends in the Splatoon community were salmon runners, notably Rochelski, who is right here, right now. And my first PvP team I made with friends on Rachel's server. And that was like a pickup for a tournament. And then I joined the team through people I met on that server as well. That's how I got to PvP through Salmon Run first. Pretty much, and that's like I'm after that I became more of a PvPer. I got away from Salmon Run, and recently as I started back to stream again, I did a few nines run, and I've gotten a bit more in touch with it, I'd say.
Are you done? I don't want to talk
Yeah.
over you.
Yeah, your turn.
Sorry,
your
I kind
turn.
of like to let y'all just kind of form the flow, and y'all doing fantastic.
Yeah, no. Normally, I'm a bit of a loudmouth and I talk over everyone, so I'm like trying not to. Also, it's really sweet that Pat is like, yes, Rachel was one of the first people I met in the community. This is like really awesome. I'm gonna give away my age here, but I started playing Splatoon 1 when it was out on the Wii U. There was like 10 of us. And I come from a Halo and Call of Duty background. And so I was playing those games for a very long time. And specifically, one of the things that I loved about those games was like the Nazi zombies in Call of Duty. That appealed to me more than the PvP aspect of Call of Duty. And eventually, Halo had its own Horde mode, and I loved it. Anyway, Splatoon 1 came out, fell in love with the game, but I was a complete casual because I was at university at the time, right? So I didn't play it much. And then Splatoon 2 came out, and I was like, wow, they've got a Horde mode. Yeah, that's been it since 2017. I've just been playing Salmon Run obsessively since then. I found a community in 2019 because I live in London. I found the London community. We go to weekly meetups here, and I met a bunch of people through there. And in 2020, when the pandemic happened, I started streaming, and I didn't know anybody in the Salmon Run community. I knew a few people in London, and I met so many people by putting myself on Twitch. I had no idea what I was doing, and I've just made so many friends through it and met so many different people through it. And it's one of the best things that I've ever done, actually, because it's opened a whole new world for me. And then I started making YouTube content, I think, in like December 2022 or around then as well. And I've been doing that for the past couple of years. But Salmon Run in particular, I don't know, there's something about a PvE mode that I just particularly love. I love the grind. I love the aspect of doing things over and over and over again, but there's like making very minute changes to improve your score. Whereas PvP, you know, I'm in my 30s. I'm not going to be as good as someone who's a teenager.
So valid.
So, yeah, so like I respect that the PvP grind isn't for me. I still do enjoy it. I have played it quite a lot, but for Salmon Run, I feel like I can enjoy it more without, I don't know, something about PvP that's inherently very competitive and sweaty, and I think I'm past that in my life. I quite like Salmon Run, not because it's not competitive, because this tournament that we're going to talk about proves that it can be competitive, but it's competitive in a different way, in a team building way, and in a way that makes everybody look and go, oh, wow, that's really good. We should do more of that. So, yeah, that's my background with this game.
I love that. All y'all have such your own interesting ways you got into the game and then feeding into Salmon Run, and I love hearing the different takes of that. So that's fantastic. I wish I was more into Salmon Run. I feel like over time I will be once I like decide to retire from playing competitive. Because
Well,
like
Comes with age.
he comes with
Well,
age.
yeah. Maybe when you hit 30, you're like, okay, I'm done. Let's play PvE now.
Yeah. So let's talk about this idea for this Snatch and Run event. How did this come about? What was the real draw to want to make this a reality and push to be this grand special show event?
So I'm gonna talk before Leo. Sorry, Leo.
Okay.
Leo
Go ahead.
Leo messaged me like a while ago, like over a year ago, to talk to me about Breeze, which is a LAN in the UK, right? And it's run by the UK community. And during that LAN, I ran a Salmon Run tournament. It didn't exactly go to plan, and there was a lot of problems with it. But it was like the first time that I'd done it in real life. I've done a few online and I've helped out with a few, but I learned a lot from it. And I think Leo messaged me after that and being like, hey, this is something that I want to do. And it's taken us about a year to get to this point, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, around that time, I was thinking about I think I was planning on going to Riptide, which is a NA land, the biggest one. And I was like,
Mm.
oh, I really want Salmon Run to be at this land, just like at Breeze. And it's really hard to actually make that happen when I was talking to the organizers with Riptide because of lack of time to fit it in. There's not enough setups, but I learned a lot about how to organize tournaments in general. And later, this is like kind of separate. When I was participating in a bunch of, or this specific tournament called Golden Run with my team, and it was like every couple weeks it happened. And I was like, I would really like this tournament to have a stream. And I talked to the organizers about it. I was like, could we have a stream? And they were like, oh, maybe we're not super interested. I was like, I'll try to get Rachel to help you guys with it. And Rachel's like, yeah, I'll do it. And they never really got into it. So I was like, I gotta do it myself.
Yeah, I feel like with
Mm.
Leo is like, yeah, I'll just do it. And that's how we're here.
Yeah.
Oh, I will mention one of the what's it called? Like motivators for actually starting to do it myself. Because I was a long time I was like, oh, I gotta do this myself, but it never really happened. And then there was a big conversation in the general channel of overfishing servers started by Brian, who has also been trying to push for this, but I guess he hasn't really like had the time, like we have to do it himself. He was like, "Oh, we really need some kind of stream for Salmon Run," and he was mentioning all this stuff about how Splatoon 1 didn't have a spec mode, so even though Salmon Run doesn't have a spec mode, it should still be possible. Like, why has no one done it?
Mm.
And that's when I messaged Rachel like several months back, and then we started down this journey.
Yeah. One thing to note is that, as Leo and Rachel have said, there are already existing Salmon Run tournaments. That what we're doing is not new on that aspect. It's just that I guess most Salmon Run organizers would be okay with having the stream, but it's a lot of extra work
Yeah.
to coordinate restreams and have several perspectives and be able to restream that. Which, I mean, I guess the Salmon Run community is mostly about, hey, we like having eggs, and if people want to stream their perspective, they want to do that. But TOs don't really have, as in PvP, that idea, that culture, that we want to show the tournament as if it was an esport with casters, with what, like, I think in the mind of most salmon runners, there isn't that much added value to it, even though everybody agrees that watching salmon run is just so cool. I mean, it's really captivating to watch top level players play.
I also find it's quite difficult from a streaming perspective. It's not accessible the way PvP streaming is accessible, right? Because you have replay codes, you have like there's so much spec mode and things like that. Salmon Run, we have none of that. And so asking people to stream, it means they have to buy a capture card. They have to have a good PC or laptop, all of these things that are inherently some hurdles that have prevented people from. It's not as easy, basically, what I'm saying. It can be done. We're proof that it can be done, and there's a few others that are doing it, but there are, legitimate concerns about why people haven't been able to stream a Salmon Run tournament, which is sad, you know. In Splatoon 4, Mr. Nagami, I would like spec mode in Salmon Run, please, at the very least, or replay codes. You know, one of them.
And
How's
another
yeah.
small thing is that a lot of Salmon Run tournaments aren't in this kind of format where, oh, it takes several hours. We start at this time and we're going to play against these teams.
Mhm.
It's not exactly the same. A lot of tournaments are like extra work. Everyone is, or people are more familiar with that format. It's 48 hours. Like, you can't,
Mm-hmm.
it's not really a tournament you can have a stream. Like, not you can stream it on your own, of course, but to have like a tournament, an event, it's very weird. And there are other tournaments that mimic the format of extra work as well, which would have the same issue.
I was thinking like I held another Salmon Run tournament a couple of weeks ago at another LAN in the UK, and it went well. We were meant to stream it, but it didn't happen due to technical difficulties. But one of the things was like on the Saturday we had one scenario code where everybody could play as much as they want for as long as they wanted, and whoever had the highest score made the finals on the Sunday. But I was like trying to talk to people and be like, yeah, you can play as long as you want and you can repeat it several times, and they're like, huh, okay. So I think the idea of like repeating the scenario code tournaments is very new to people, and we don't show that, and I don't think you can stream that either. I don't know. We've
Right.
got a lot to figure
I
out.
was about to say this is like
Yeah.
the beginning phase of really pushing out what can be the other side of Splatoon no one really gets to view. Like being able to
Yeah.
shine up this potential of like, hey, like Salmon Runs can be very interesting to watch and obviously play, but like this is the opportunity to, give it a different perspective instead of like, oh, here's your extra work or what is it, the golden rotations just to go play and things like that Nintendo likes to drizzle out. Um, it's more
Yeah,
focused.
and like obviously I'm biased here because I love the mood, but watching people overfishers when they're playing, like watching Leo streams, watching Brian streams, and watching Marty's videos and things like that. When you watch them play, when you watch the coordinated effort that goes into it and how smooth it is cool. It's so cool to watch, and I think a lot of people would like to watch it. We just haven't been able to find a way to get it on stream and make it really accessible for people.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So how does it go about like setting up a Salmon Run tournament? How do people really like get to sign up for these kind of events? Is it all in like a server? Is there like a certain website used?
Mm. It's the other issue I have with the Salmon Run community is that we're kind of fractured.
Yeah.
That is
So
so
like
understandable.
yeah, so it's not like there's like one place where people sign up. I mean, we have, like Leo said, we had the overfishing server, which is the biggest sort of dedicated overfishing server, and then we
Mhm.
also have the Salmon Run server, which is beyond huge. It's ridiculous how big that is, but I don't think there's tournaments in there. And then there's also little communities that have formed since 2017, because if you think Salmon Run's been going for 7 years now, and there's lots of different ways you can join tournaments. Like speaking from experience, like the one I've played the most is Grisco Overtime, and I just kind of fell into that. And that's a lone sign up. You sign up individually, and you get allocated a different team every game.
Mhm.
But not all tournaments are like that. And Leo said like he's got a team, and they sign up for things together. Again, it's not particularly accessible. There's not one place that you can go find Salmon Run tournaments, which it'd be cool if there was.
Yeah.
Maybe there will be in the future.
I will say that Golden Run, and I think I tried to push Grisco Overtime to do this as
Yeah.
well, to advertise their tournaments on Sendo.inc.
Mhm.
Sendo's work has been so influential with making it really, really accessible for PvP tournaments. And I think Sendo turns, actually, wait, that's something, should we have done that? I don't know. It's an invitational, so maybe not.
Not yet.
Yeah, never
Soon.
mind.
Yeah,
But yeah,
we
there's
need to
nothing.
learn to advertise through
Yeah.
different platforms, right? We're not very good at advertising, I think, in the Salmon Run community too. we're getting better at advertising within the community, like
Mhm.
posting on all the different servers. But like going to sendu.inc is a really good idea. We should do that.
But that's the thing, is it's not the Salmon Run competitive community, it's the Salmon Run community. And there isn't really a special competitive part. And you might say that the
Yeah.
overfishing server does that in a way, but in the end, like the line between competitive and non-competitive, there is no line. It's
Mhm.
just a community, and these tournaments are seen more as really community events than they are seen as actual tournaments, I'd
Mhm.
say.
Mm.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like honestly that makes it like so unique on its own for that perspective as someone who like consistently plays in like competitive tournaments, right? Like I feel like that's such a nice break to be like you could play something and if you want to try to be somewhat competitive at it, your way is really by doing that instead of just being really good at the game is being more strategic than it is
Uh-huh.
like just hoping you're mechanically gifted. um and you can just play casually and just like have a good time with some friends playing Salmon Run.
It's really funny watching really good PvP players play Salmon Run because you can see they're like so mechanically good, but like their Salmon Run awareness and things like that is just not good.
It's not there. Yeah.
And I'm not gonna name names, but they know who they are.
I remember an iconic moment at the Genesis stream where they did have commentators, and they were PvP commentators that they grabbed, and they're like, "Hey, you guys get to commentate the Samurai side event." They're like, all right. And I remember everyone was commenting on this. They were trying to come up with things to say, like commentate, and they're like, "Oh, nice pick on the flopper," and everyone in the Samurai community is like, "What? What does that mean?" But
Oh
it
my
makes so much sense
goodness.
to a PvP player.
Yeah. Oh man, that should be that seems like such an interesting just idea. Just thought of that. It's just like having people who are not experienced both go like just play Salmon in an event and also just commentate it and see what they come up with. It's gonna be
See,
crazy.
that's kind of what we're doing with Pat at the minute. That's why I wanted him to commentate with me. I'm joking, Pat. I'm joking.
Hey, I'm doing my best.
You're doing great. You're doing great. Converting a PvP commentator. No, I wish people would give Samurai more of a chance. I think it's got potential to be something. I know, like in Japan, they do quite a lot of tournaments, don't they? Leo, you guys
They
have signed up for
do.
them. Yeah.
Yes, we have signed up for several Japanese tournaments. One of the ones we've done multiple times is called Mampuku Cup, and it's one of those more open tournaments that's very accessible. It's designed to be accessible to the casual player, and they get like hundreds of signups. And the format is very simple. You play for 2 hours, your top three scores get counted, as well as your best scales in those 2 hours. But yeah, all the Japanese tournaments are pretty fragmented too, but the difference is that all of them are on Twitter. So they just post on
Uh,
Twitter and you get a bunch of reposts, and then all the Japanese people see it on Twitter. So we have to use it too. Like my team has to use Twitter to find all the Japanese tournaments and then join the Japanese discords. And yeah, there are quite a lot.
I feel
That's for
like
sure.
that feels so such like early days like competitive Splatoon before Sendu. Like struggling to find all
yeah.
the Twitter accounts to follow for your events.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's like it sounds accessible, but if you don't speak Japanese, it's not accessible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I believe it was Rachel, you mentioned it earlier. So Snatch and Run is an invitational, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So now I guess really you guys can share whatever you would like to share and not share whatever you don't. But like I'm just gonna kind of spitball questions. So how many teams are there currently invited for this event?
So for this event, we have run this event one time before.
Hmm.
It was not called Snatch and Run then. It was kind of just a more informal exhibitional match with two teams.
Okay.
So this time we are running it with four.
Ooh, okay.
And I do want to touch on why exactly we're doing invitational instead of having it be open.
Mhm.
It is very hard, as I've mentioned, to set up all the streaming stuff and make sure that everyone who's playing, all the teams have at least one person who has a capture card who can stream. That stream is good quality. They can all show up at the same time and make sure that the stream is working. And it is really hard to coordinate that with being allowed open sign up. So what I did was I invited three, well, including my team, I invited three other high level, we'll say, Western teams
Mhm.
to participate, and then made sure each of them has a capture card, and we've been working on making sure their streams all work and everything like that. But yeah, so for now it's 4 teams. If we can make it bigger in the future, if we can make it not have to be an invitational, that would be amazing.
Mm.
Okay, that makes sense to me.
Mhm.
I mean, it took a lot of work just to make sure that we could stream 4 Salmon Run gameplays at the same time.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it took a lot of trial and error to make it work, because
Mm-hmm.
each team, each perspective had a different technical problem that it took us about an hour to fix. And
Yeah.
like maybe in a few months, when we've tested it with enough people, when we've done it enough and had the time to debug it with enough people that we can easily talk to, maybe we'll say, okay, it's an open, as long as you can do this and that, here's a guide on how to do it, then you can join the tournament. But for now, the whole point is to do these restreams, and we want to do that with people we can like coordinate with a long time in advance to make sure that it's working fine.
Mhm.
Also, we want to show people the best of Salmon Run, and we got the best teams.
Yeah.
There's that too. Leo is probably too nice to say that, but it's also like we want to show the best teams right now.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me, especially because like, um, I mean, like we mentioned before, like Salmon Run in general is not as pushed out as PvP is for Splatoon, so it's gonna be a nice change of pace, really, to see something that's not your average 4v4 tournament into bracket that's gonna go on for like 6 hours of your day.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not having that. How long is this tournament gonna last? It's gonna be, I would say about 2 hours, wouldn't it?
2 to 3, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it's quite concise, I think, which is quite nice.
Mhm. Do you have any prizes set on the table?
Ooh.
We do not.
Okay. I always like to ask that because I
Glory.
feel like they should be fun.
Glory.
Glory.
Yeah, glory.
Honestly, being able to claim you're the best salmon runner seems like a pretty great title to have.
I think so. Yeah, I think it's glory and helping us push the Salmon Run competitive
Mhm.
scene. That's what you get if you win.
Yeah. Plus also all the content. I mean, that's just like free.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, talking about content, I uploaded the VOD from our little exhibition match. When was it? 2 months ago now? The first
Mhm.
time we did it.
Yeah.
I uploaded it to my YouTube channel and I had a bunch of comments saying, "Hey, this was cool. We haven't seen anything like this before. We'd like to see more of it."
Mhm.
So that's quite promising. I'm hoping the next one we do this weekend has sort of the same, if not more, success as a result of that. But I do definitely think there is a curiosity of what Salmon Run can be in a competitive sense, or just streamed from a tournament perspective. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have personally streamed a couple of tournaments that I've played in myself, but I'm not talking during those streams because I'm concentrating,
Yeah, so
or
understood.
I'm in, yeah, or like I'm in VC. So it's nice to be able to commentate a tournament that I'm not playing in. Actually, it's really nice.
I mean, the reason we're putting this on Dapple Productions with a Splatuber celebrity on the microphone at the same time is because we want to make this big. We want to make this last. We want it to. This will be Snatch and Run 1, and there
Yeah.
will be a Snatch and Run 2, and there will be a Snatch and Run 3. if you win this one, you get to say that you were the first Snatch and Run champion.
Yeah.
And we want that to mean something in the long run.
Yeah, I think it'd be so nice to have a recurring Salmon Run event because, like we mentioned, it's you don't really see that much Salmon Run, shown out and kind of advertised per se, right? I mean, sure you have, you know, those popular streamers that will play the Nintendo provided Salmon Run events that get pushed out in
Mm.
game, right? But besides that, you really don't get to see like it more dedicated to the aspect of the viewers, right? Who just kind of like have something designated that they can watch that has kind of the same level of coordination as you would see from like top player teams or like teams in general.
Yeah, and I also like speaking from experience of doing content creation. The majority of people that watch me are people that play freelance and people that play by themselves. And so I don't think I think a large portion of the community, the Samaran community, people that play Samaran exclusively, they just simply haven't been exposed to competitive Samaran, or they think of overfisher as this like dirty word they get upset about when they don't get a gold trophy in big run, you know? And I kind of just want to show that it's actually really cool. And these people are, just people that love the mode and they just play it a bit more often, maybe a bit more seriously, but it can still be competitive. And, I think we need to advertise more and work on sort of pushing it out and go, hey, come and watch this. It's really fun.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like it all like when you mentioned you uploaded your VOD of the first like
Mm,
ran you had to have people were curious about it. This is gonna open up to especially if they get pushed onto like YouTube and like there's different types of content made of it, not just VODs, but also like I mean, if the winners make content, you have a great title right off the bat. How I won the first official like Salmon Run event or
yeah,
something. Like the
yeah.
interest can build and get drawn from there, and you'll have a lot more people be like, "Wow, I didn't know like Salmon could be this entertaining, could be this competitive,
Hmm.
and especially because it's so unique. It's such a unique competitive experience compared to that of like regular PvP. In this fact that it's not going to take you all day. It's a nice like 2 hour session of your day that you could get to, give or take, obviously, but
Hmm.
you get to do something that's instead of fighting other players, you're just fighting salmonoids. Like, I mean, that just seems fun.
I'm definitely looking forward to it. As a competitor and an organizer, I have the benefit of being both.
The most stress.
I was gonna say
That's very true.
how hard was it to like schedule out this specific day a date in mind for this event?
Oh God.
Oh,
Worst
How long
question
have
I
you
could
been
have
planning
asked.
this?
Worst
Yeah.
question.
you can tell by the reaction, but it has. I have pushed this back. We have pushed this back probably 3 or 4 times.
Wow.
Each
Yeah.
time something happens, either the Nintendo event, this last time it was because extra work was
Mm.
announced, and we were like,
Mm.
oh, well, we can't run it during extra work. And even this time, like it's on Golden Rotation, which is another Nintendo event. Well, like whatever, we gotta do it. We gotta do it now. We can do the next one. But it was such a struggle, and I don't
I
know how invitationals, PvP invitationals do it, where they have so many people that need to be there at the same time. I thought it's so hard.
I just saw a message from Leo like a few weeks ago being like, I'm not moving this. I don't care about a golden rotation. I am done. It's like, yes, this is the date.
Oh.
Um, it's one big difference between Salmon Run and PvP is if there's a Splatfest, that's not going to change the plans of competitive players.
Mhm.
If anything, competitive players are less likely to play
I was
during a
about to
Splatfest
say.
because you have to unequip your Splatfest every time you join the lobby. But in Salmon Run, if an extra work or a gold rotation is announced by Nintendo, every top Salmon Runner cancels their plans for that weekend and start making teams and start
Yeah.
preparing these 8 hours grinds because they are going to play that whole weekend Salmon Run. I believe it was one time where Brian missed like in the zone or another very big tournament because he wanted to play Salmon Run because it was one of the last gold rotations of Splatoon 2. And
Yeah,
it
that
was
makes
a
sense
small
to me.
card. It was the rotation where the world records for eggs in a single shift was broken, I think. So he was right to do that. He wasn't the one to break it, but like that was one of the last big good rotations of Splatoon 2. And so he missed the tournament for that. And so like not changing the date was really okay. Any date we set, there's going to be something happening. We have all teams. We can stop the golden grind for a few hours just to run this tournament.
And what you said about Brian reminds me actually earlier this year during Grand Splatlands Bowl, it happened at the same time as Riptide, and I was like, I was kind of on the edge of maybe going to Riptide, but when Grand Splatlands Bowl was announced, I was like, no, that's not happening. I have to play this.
That was an important weekend.
It was.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, I like that Salmon Run is so enjoyable to the fact that like you're willing to give up other things for it, unlike how it is for like a Splatfest where it's like we don't want to play with turf. We have all weekend. Give me something else to do.
Oh, dude, I cancel my in real life plans. Like when there's a golden rotation, I'm like, I can't come out. I'm busy. Like I'm just like, I'm having a weekend off. Gotta prioritize it.
Yeah, I mean it's. I just love how much more fun it is to have something that in the game that's just like this is my time now. This is when I'm locking in for this. that Nintendo's
Yeah.
gonna provide.
Yes. Yeah, because I think we've got another big run coming up in a couple of weeks as well now,
Yeah.
aren't we? They're doing the reruns.
Yeah.
So, yep, that's the weekend I close my door to everybody. So.
And Cactus, I can guarantee you that like we have 16 players for this tournament. And 5 minutes before the tournament starts, all 16 of them will be playing the gold rotation. And 5 minutes after the tournament ends, they will be back to it. And there's no doubt in my
There's
mind
no
that
stopping
that's
it.
how they do.
Yeah.
I can't lie. that kind of is the plan.
That's my
Hey.
plan as well.
Yeah. I know I've known several salmon runners that play with split Joy-Cons because they find it more comfortable and it allows them to play longer because they can just rest both of their arms on their armchairs, and with split Joy-Cons they can do that.
That's actually really funny. I didn't consider that. I am a split Joy-Con player.
Oh,
Even before I got into Salmon Run, I just happened to play split Joy-Cons with PvP as well. But I didn't think about that. I guess it does.
Only in Salmon Run have I met people who play split Joy-Cons.
That's crazy.
New hidden salmon tech?
No, I refuse. I don't like the Joy-Cons.
Unfortunately, if you play split Joy-Cons, you have no choice.
You're trapped to it.
I aim with my right hand and my right hand only. My left hand has no idea what's going on.
That's really why I can't go to joystick or Joy-Cons, is because I will move both my hands and knowing like one doesn't need to do it. It's just the muscle memory's there already. I'm too far gone.
I did want to switch gears slightly, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So recently, you may know that Nintendo released a tournament manager for Salmon Run.
Yes.
And it was huge that it happened like around the same time that we were scheduling this tournament. But unfortunately, we can't use it. And the reason is that manager only allows you to organize tournaments with regular games in freelance or the freelance option, the regular shift option, and not private job.
Oh.
And I did want to mention that for our tournament, what are we going to be doing? We're going to be playing pre-planned seeds. So we have a team. that does not consist of anyone who's playing in the tournament, but they have selected several seeds for us to play that they have deemed is competitively enjoyable. So it's not like terrible fly fish spam all the time, but it's not like the easiest game ever, low hazard. So we have this team who has vetted seeds, and both the teams that will be playing, so it'll be head to head, 1v1 in a single elim bracket. But the two teams that are playing will be playing at the exact same time on the exact same scenario code. So they will have the same RNG, the same spawns, barring boss replacement, which I won't get into, and the same shift types and everything like that. So that makes it completely fair, and there's no competitive advantage to anyone. Um, but yeah, I thought it was really funny that this the tournament manager also released at the same time, and everyone
Yeah.
around us is coming up with their own tournaments because it's very easy to do now
Yep.
with freelance.
Yeah.
It's just a shame that it's not scenario code based, isn't it? That it doesn't
Yeah,
give you the option, at least.
I'm very optimistic about it because when the tournament app released for PvP, the whole competitive scene was like, oh, it's nice that it exists. It's a toy. It can't do Swiss. It can barely do half of what we do every day. And like there was so much missing in that tournament app when it released. But they've added slowly one thing after the other to the app, and now I've played it a tournament that used it, and it was a good tournament. It was well organized and it worked well. Hopefully, if they release that app and make sure that it's working, they will add things to it as well. And maybe some point we'll be able to tell to the tournament app, coordinate the seeds, maybe give us a spectator cam, please, Nintendo, or a seed editor, like as we know that you do for extra work. Like there's so much that could be done in these tournament apps. And right now, Nintendo has just said that they're going to do it, that like they started it. We know from PvP that they started with something very small that they added stuff to later. So I'm really looking forward to see what Nintendo does with that app. Right now, we don't need it. We're not using it.
That's completely fair. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I feel like this is just like the beginning, right? And obviously you'll have those smaller orgs or people in general that be like, I want to host my own event, or content creators will use it, being like, I hosted the first like content creator Salmon Run event, things like that that we saw when the app first came out with the tournament organizer. So I definitely feel like I gotta agree with you there, Pat. Like they'll probably add it over time. Now, how long over time will be the greatest test of all, considering how the game's going right now. But there's always room for growth and potential, and I feel like considering they've been updating the regular tournament organizer, I could see them totally updating this.
I played in a Salmon Run tournament on Saturday, just gone, so 3 days ago, with the new tournament organizer. It was run by It's Dangerous to Go Alone,
Mm-hmm.
and I tried it. I signed up, and it was individual signups, and it was interesting. It isn't how I would run a Salmon Run tournament at all. It's Nintendo's way of running a Salmon Run tournament. But I do think there is potential, like we're talking about, and there is probably space for it in the community, maybe from a casual perspective,
Mm-hmm.
as it stands at the minute, because it was really easy. You just sign up as an individual, go into freelance, play for an hour, and then whatever your cumulative score is over that hour. And what's interesting is when you go into a freelance room, it will purposely not match you with other people in the freelance tournament. So like you all go into freelance at the same time, but you're all getting matches with different people. You're not matching with people in the tournament. So it's actually quite fair from that perspective. You get your free randos, of course.
Yeah.
Um, it was interesting to say the least. Like I'm glad we're getting something for Salmon Run. It's been so long. So we'll see. Yeah.
Especially with how much they've really put in a lot of work into Salmon Run in general in this game. it's so cool to see that they still do see it. They still do see that how interested people are in it, and they're willing to still have these little things that they could add to it, and try to make it better than what it is before. Because I feel like no matter what, at least with Salmon Run, like something's gonna get added that's gonna feel more beneficial than actually hurting. Which actually is a random question I just thought of. How like do Salmon Runners look forward to patch notes at all?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yes.
Could also be like the
It's
craziest patches for Salmon Run, and I'll be like, I'm sure Salmon Runners are eating good tonight.
it's
You should just
interesting
look
because
good.
it's interesting because some parts of the PvP notes also apply to Salmon Run. So, for example, on the most recent patch, the wiper buff,
Mhm.
I mean, that applies
Mhm.
to Salmon Run too, and it's huge. Like, it's huge for
Yeah.
PvP, but it is huge for Salmon Run too, and like
Okay.
that is like a big change.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
noticed that immediately. Yeah.
hmm but yeah,
That's so
some
interesting
parts.
to me. I love that.
So the good thing about salmon run patches, not like in like 95% of cases, whenever a weapon gets nerfed for PvP, it doesn't get nerfed for salmon run.
Mhm.
So weapons exist in this sort of like really souped up kind of environment where they don't get nerfed. The specials don't get nerfed, anything like PvP, but there are a few instances where they have been, which is a bit sad, but they get all the buffs. So yeah, like Leo was saying, that random wiper buff, that now the wiper is faster, and that's great. And obviously Salmon Run is full of bugs and glitches as well, so we
Mm.
like it when they're fixed.
Yeah, one big thing that I've noticed in the recent patches is Nintendo is trying to fix egg lag.
It's
So
trying.
for the people who don't know much about Salmon Run, one player in the lobby has no lag when they want to pick up the eggs. Everybody else needs to well, I mean, you know Nintendo's netcode. It's also bad for Salmon Run, and we feel how bad it is, especially when we try to pick up eggs. And Nintendo, I think the last 3 patches there was something like, oh yeah, we it should be faster to pick up eggs. I haven't noticed much of a difference, to be honest. But like they're trying, they're trying.
They're
Well,
slowly tweaking it.
for a comparison, if you play PvP, it's very similar to picking up clams. So one
Okay.
person in the lobby who is designated as host, or if you're in a private job or a private lobby, you'll have the host, but they have no lag picking up clams. Same thing with eggs.
Okay. Is there like anything right now off the top of your head that you really wish Nintendo would either buff, nerf, patch for Salmon Run right now?
Can I go first?
Go
I
ahead.
want them to retroactively get rid of the nerf on the sloshing machine.
Oh
I
yeah.
was I was so sad when that applied to Salmon Run because why? Why did you take that away from us? Like it doesn't affect anybody outside of Salmon Run. That's one of the main things. There is you
The
guys go.
Kraken
There is
nerf
some.
too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That
That's it.
one feels so bad in Seven.
Oh, and the dapples being weaker
Oh
in
yeah, the
in
Dapple
Salmon Run
stuff
in Splatoon
is
3 compared to
mm.
Splatoon 2. Yeah, I don't get that.
The
Weird.
one thing I really want to change is they should put a shield on the Grisco umbrella because it's not a umbrella. What? Nintendo, the umbrella should have a shield. That's the point. And that weapon is bad because it doesn't have a shield.
I actually wanted to talk to Leo about something. I'm going to go completely off track here.
It's okay.
Leo, do you think there's like a power creep with Grisco weapons?
To some extent,
Because
I
I'm
think there is, yeah.
because I'm like worried for Splatoon 4 what they're going to do with Grisco weapons, but also like when you look at the Brella, when you look at the Charger, when you look at the Blaster, the Grisco variants, I'm like these weapons are so bad in comparison to the ones that have been released for Splatoon 3. I'm worried that they're just I don't know. I don't know what I'm worried about, but I think I could see a power creep.
Slush is still
Also,
king.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I will say I'm not worried about Grisco Charger. But,
No, I didn't mention that one for obvious reasons.
yeah. The one thing about power creep is what we think about as overfishers when we play like gold rotations is how likely is the broken seed.
Mhm.
And with more Grisco weapons and with only
Mm,
Grisco Slosher being able to hit Mudmouth, you have less likely Grisco Slosher Mudmouth. You
yep.
have less likely uh or actually well Grisco Roller got added, but it's pretty unlikely still for Seeking and etc. or Grisco Charger for Mothership. So that does balance it out in some ways, but of
Mhm.
course it doesn't affect Dayways.
Mm, yeah. Anyway, that was just a random question I had. Uh,
The patch I want is to fix lid lag. And this
oh,
is a very specific thing, but on certain maps, especially Mariner's Bay,
Mhm.
when lids get stalled in specific parts of the map, it's kind of hard to
yeah.
describe, but the game slows down to like 10 FPS. It's
Oh.
really, really bad.
It's
And
horrendous. Yeah.
you have to go over immediately and kill that lid, or else your game will just continuously run at 10 FPS. And they've mentioned bug fixes that are like, oh, we fixed lid lag, we fixed lid lag. It's just never been actually fixed.
Doesn't Smokeyard have the same problem, or did they fix it?
It might. I'm not sure. I don't think it happens as often anymore, which, maybe they
Okay.
did something, but
Yeah.
it still happens on Bay. And it's just terrible.
Yeah. No, Bay is the worst map for numerous reasons, and that's one of them. Yeah.
I just love this because this is like giving me like PTSD from map mode combinations that were so bad back then. Just listening to this, it's so funny. It's just like when Lemuria Hub came out, it's like when the Rainmaker going on like the ramps would just instantly jump up to like from 50 to 10. It's like this is giving me same vibes. I like that we're all equally kind of suffering from certain issues.
oh,
Certain decisions.
Salmon Run, and especially in Splatoon 2 Salmon Run, it's made with duct tape. The game is really made with duct tape, and I think that's the main reason we don't have a spectator cam,
Mhm.
because
Wouldn't be able to handle it.
Yeah.
no, it's the thing is the ink on the ground is distinct. The position of the bosses is distinct. If you had like an overhead camera watching all four players playing, you'd see people shooting in the air and fish dying with nothing shooting at them on the other side of the map. You'd see people swimming in enemy ink all the time, everywhere. Nothing would make sense. And I think that's the reason we don't have a spectator cam, because the netcode cannot handle. In PvP, the netcode has to handle 8 players. In Salmon Run, it has to handle 4 players and a million fish. And it can't handle the million fish. So the fish, everything the fish does is completely distinct.
Maybe that's something we'll see in Splatoon 4 though, because I
Yeah.
feel like that's a specific thing to Splatoon 3, I think.
Mhm.
Like, because the Switch is 7 years old now. And they're
Mhm.
trying to. I remember when Splatoon 3 came out, you could have 4 of each boss, right? And then they were like, oh crap, we can't handle that. And they reduced it to 3 like straight
I
away.
didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure, like within a month, they were like, "No, we need to reduce it." Hold on,
I-
I'm gonna
I
Google this.
think not. I think the
I'm g-
data miners told us the number of maximum boss was 4, but it was like the way it was written in the data mine, but it was still 3.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, but some waves would simply lag everything, notably Rush. You activate when the game came out, you activated Inkjet during Rush, which is a thing you do during Rush. The game would lag. The game would lag, if not crash.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
And then there were the
I
flying
remember that.
Monmouths. Like, this game was so broken at launch.
Oh, wait, yeah, no, you're right. Yeah. I'm just Googling to see if what I said is true. Carry on talking. Oh, we get a comment being like, actually.
Yeah.
So So what are some hopes that you have for Salmon Run and Splatoon 4? What are some things like that you would love to see either be introduced or be changed that would make Salmon Run either more fun or just a better experience?
I mean, we've mentioned a lot of the stuff we want for tournament stuff. I think having more either variety or choice with rotations, something that I was thinking about a while ago with challenges being introduced in PvP. The fact that there's a lack of like interesting rotations for Salmon Run. For example, the random rotations every single time in Salmon Run, it's every single weapon as possible for the question mark. But why not have an event, a challenge for 2 hours, like all splat links, or something like that, like fast swim speed, like a challenge like that
Yeah.
in Salmon Run, totally doable. I want to see that.
So one big change I would like, and that's because I play mostly as an overfisher who likes to simply grind the games. And not an overfisher, as a freelancer who likes to grind the games like more casually than Rachel and Leo. Is that they would change the scoring system, because the scoring system, the way it is made right now, it is made so that it pushes you to a difficulty where you're going to lose more than half of the games. Because when you win 20 points.
Mhm.
When you lose a maximum of 20 points. So if you are at a rank, at a difficulty where you're going to stay even, it means you're losing more games that you win. And it's very frustrating. And I think that's a big reason why people are frustrated by Salmon Run, are frustrated by their teammates, is because the point system pushes you to lose, pushes you in a difficulty where you're going to lose, which is not that much of a problem for Rachel and Leo because they get to 9s without losing. So that's fine by them. But for me, it's very much a problem. And I would like to see it fixed in some way.
That's so funny. You're just like, can you make the game easier for me,
Not.
please?
I
I'm joking. I'm joking. I get your point. It's
I
valid.
want the game to be harder to climb because the fact that
Yes.
it's so easy to climb, it pushes you to a difficulty where you're going to lose. And it pushes your teammates to a difficulty where they are going to lose.
I mean, you can argue then that you would like to see rank decay, right? From inactivity. You would just have like not gain any rank, but you would lose it or have to restart at a certain point, I guess. Maybe.
I don't care how it's done, but I would like to see the rank system be more punishing so that it's harder for me to rank up, so that I play more waves where I am on top of things.
Do you know
Actually,
what? Go on.
as far as rank decay, I think it would be really nice if it just kept your rank. Because right now it resets every rotation to like some number based on your badge.
Oh
If you just
yeah.
stayed at 9s with
Be
some decay
great.
over time, that would be amazing. I didn't even think about that until you mentioned it.
Yeah, because I do think the badge thing, if you get 999, you get the badge and you always restart the next rota on that map at EVP 400. I do think that is an issue because I think that is people playing above their skill level, I think. And I don't even mean that in a, kind of a horrible, snooty way. I just mean in a way that maybe you should rank down and go play in a scenario that's not as scary or as punishing. If you're less experienced, it makes you a better player. Anyway, I wanted to say that the number of boss salmonids that can appear at once was capped at 15 in the in the 2.0 update in November 2022. So that's what I was getting confused with. They capped the number of boss spawns. So because like the patch notes were saying, like it caused the game to slow down so badly that they capped the number of bosses. So I was kind of right, kind of wrong. That's the theme of my content creation. Sometimes right, sometimes wrong. Who knows? For Splatoon 4, I would like to see endless mode for Salmon Run, personally. And that's coming from a perspective, like I mentioned earlier, of someone that's played the Halo and Call of Duty. PvE modes for a long time. It just keeps going and going and going, and progressively gets harder, or you struggle in some way via some metric, not necessarily just an increase in difficulty. But endless salmon run is like the biggest thing in the world for me. I would simply perish, I think. You'd never see me again.
Now, do you think that would be an endless mode? Could be a because I don't think I was thinking about that. How like we really don't have anything like that really in Splatoon, per se. Would it
Mm,
be something
Side
that's like,
order supposed to.
oh yeah, it's
yeah.
right, sign order, right? So would it be like a single player only thing, or would you dare try to challenge it into having a full squad?
Well, it'd be cool if you could do both, right?
Yeah.
And it just pairs you up with randos, or you go in as a squad, and it's sort of, if there's like a leaderboard of like who's cleared the most waves or which team has cleared the most waves, because I think that's cool in a way that allows it to be competitive, but Nintendo can control that competitiveness because they like to do that, don't they? So that's something I would just grind that mode. I would do 12-hour streams of me just playing, trying to get as far as possible. It's quite maybe they shouldn't do it.
Rachel, you said leaderboard. That's also one big thing that I think I want, and I think everybody here would want, is that
Mm,
the X rank has a top 500, has a leaderboard that you can see for the season.
Mhm.
If we had a leaderboard for rotation, if we for all our season or anything about golden eggs, about points, about anything, if you had something to show Nintendo on your app saying, "Hey, here are the best salmon runners that you can cross in freelance, and here's the leaderboard." Anything to improve the visibility of top level salmon run, I think would benefit the game immensely. Immensely? Immensely? How do you pronounce that word?
Immensely.
however you want. Say it in
Great.
French.
Great.
Yeah, that really would open up a little bit more eyes to the like competitive salmon run too, being like, because that gives people a goal, right? It's just like there's an
Mm,
opportunity to for that season, or if you want to make it like monthly or whatever, like the opportunity to be like, yep, like I'm at the top, I did that. And you can even like I'll like expand it to like they get badges, or they get like special like salmon, like um what is it, like maybe a banner or something like that.
mm. I do think this sort of goes back to like Nintendo's reluctance to be too competitive,
Hmm.
because they don't like it that much, do
Yeah.
they? They like it to be very like strictly enforced to the views of the way they want to do it, which is cool. I get it. It's their company. But you see it with like the Smash tournaments and other things. It's like competitive, but their way. And so I wonder if having a leaderboard isn't their way, I don't know.
I do want to give a shout out to Marty, who maintains a Google
Oh, of
sheet
course.
of all
Yeah.
the world records. Both, so it's not just overall; it's each individual shift type has
Yeah.
a specific world record for every map, for every rotation type, including the big run maps. That that's a big resource for the top level.
Yeah, do you see all the scores? It's like quite something to see it on a Google
Yeah.
spreadsheet.
By the way, we've been talking about Salmon Run for an hour now, and we've only shout out Marty once. Shout out, shout outs to Marty. Marty's incredible. Marty is pretty much the Sendu of Salmon Run.
That's crazy.
At
I
Marty
want,
Bubbler on Twitter, by the way.
yeah. We should also shout out the people that have helped us with this tournament, because it's not
Yeah.
just us three. There's also people working behind the scenes. Whack, I want to give a shout out to Whack for helping us with the production stuff, and also to Chazzy and the people on Chazzy's team that have been helping with scenario code testing. Huge thank you to them for giving up their time to go through hundreds of codes to play them over and over and analyze them and decide whether they're worth it. Yes, means a lot that we've got people that also, it's not just us that want to put this tournament out there, it's also other people within the community that want to help in any way possible.
Yeah. I also need to give a shout out to Pinky and Alice for stepping up and really helping us set things up in a professional way and giving us the tools and the resources of Dapple Productions.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's so nice to see people come together for something that's not regular Splatoon competitive. Something more fun. Something that's a nice change of pace.
What's your experience with Salmon Run Cactus?
Oh, you don't want
Like
to
how
ask me
much
that
have you
question.
played?
You don't
I
want to
do.
ask me.
Come on,
I
come on.
I ask everybody that question.
Okay, so I don't think I've touched Salmon Run in it's been a while. It's been under a year for sure, but it's been a while. I always try to play like the big events, right? So like the big runs or the extra works if I can. Um but sometimes they come out when there's a LAN. Sometimes they come out like the last one I think was during one of the New York LANs. So
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
didn't get to touch it at all. But I don't have too much experience in Salmon Run. I just know that whenever there's like a big run and my friends want to play, they are all good at the Salmon Run and I'm not. So like I'm the okay, so you're all gonna like point and be like gasp at me, but I forget I have a special 90% of the time when I'm playing Salmon Run. And they'll
So
be
you're an
like
average Salmon Run player.
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm just
The
so focused.
overfishers do it too.
I'm just so focused on like just getting the eggs or killing everything that I'm just not I don't hear the sound when my special's ready like I've trained to when playing competitive, so I just forget it's there.
That's so funny.
That's understandable, actually. That the sound of the special being ready is not there.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think about those things, but from a PvP perspective, that makes sense.
I feel like
'Cause
if
you're
there was
expecting
like
it to ding.
yeah, if it was like maybe like a reminder every so often, like maybe like a mini version of the sound, just to be like, hey, you have this by the way, as if the glowing hair wasn't enough.
When
You
I
can't
was
even see the
new,
glowing hair because you've got the
Oh, that's
hat
right.
on.
Yes.
That's
My
why.
PvP
Yeah.
is showing. My PvP is showing.
but when I was new to this scene, one salmon runner, another fisher told me that the one thing that was better than a perfect wave was a perfect wave where you don't use your specials. So you can use them in the next wave.
It's just like playing Salmon Run on hard mode. Like,
Yeah. In Splatoon 2, you don't even need your specials. That's how easy Salmon Run was in Splatoon 2.
Yeah.
In comparison, yeah. In Splatoon 3, you need them. Please use them.
I'm making the mental note now. Next time I play Salmon Run, please use special. I do remember. I do know though the tactic of not using it during your first wave. Don't worry. That I know.
No,
you should.
no.
Really, you
You
should?
should.
Really?
Yeah.
I was always
No.
told save it for the second and third wave.
Who told you that?
I don't
Where
remember,
are they?
but that's
Send
a
them
good
to me.
So I think that's interesting to note is that both the special and the sub and the main weapons, they're technically the same tools that you have in PvP, but you use them completely differently and you think about them in a very, very different way that you would in PvP. And the specials, like the special management is completely different than what you have in PvP, of course, because you only have two and you have to decide when to use them. But the thing that you have to pay attention to is that there's 8 specials on the team, and if you use 0 special in the first wave, you're probably throwing.
Listen, the biggest thing I tell people if they're struggling in freelance is the same thing that Pat said, is that you've got 8 specials between 4 of you. There's a very good chance that your teammates, your freelance randos, whatever you want to call them, will not use their specials in wave 1 because they've been told the same thing as you. So you can more or less guarantee that they're going to use them in wave 2 or wave 3. So you're safe to use it in wave 1 if you feel like you need it. Obviously don't, like if it's a chill wave and you get through it, fine. But like I think in freelance your special usage is very different to overfishing. Overfishing, you want to maximize results and your sort of time spent killing versus running eggs. So using specials either speeds that up or allows you to do it more safely. But for freelance, I would definitely factor in your safety more than anything else.
Also, you said guarantee they use it on wave 2 or wave 3. I'm not sure you can guarantee they'll use it. Something
Oh, yeah.
I do in freelance is
To be
I
fair,
use my special to remind my
Yes.
freelancers that
Oh,
they
yeah.
have a special.
That they have
test.
one.
That's a number one use of a special.
yeah, no, that's a very good point. But I find more often than not, you will have people look at you weird, you know, when they turn their inkling or their octoling to you and be like, "Did you just use your special in wave 1?" But then like they'll use theirs in wave 2 and wave 3, so I don't mind. So, but you need to play more Salmon Run, Cactus. Are
I
you free
will.
for the next big run?
What is the next big run?
I
So that
think it's
I
not.
don't know.
I think it's
Cactus.
not. Is it the 14th of December? Is
I
that when it's
believe
announced?
so, yes.
Yeah.
But
Play-
Cactus,
play
on
big one.
Saturday, there's a gold rotation. And while you have the top level Salmon Runners in a stream open, you can play Salmon Run at the same time.
I might have to. I'll be like jotting notes as I watch. Like, okay, so they did this.
Exactly.
Like,
You'll learn a lot of tricks, I guarantee you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, if I'm not, I might have to pull an overfisher strat and make myself free that weekend if I'm not for the big run. Gotta put my
It's funny
new
with-
uses.
With overfishing, something that is so different from PvP is the scheduling ahead of time culture. Like
Yeah.
there are people that have DM'd me about scheduling for big run. They're like full. Like all of the big run, which is 3 weeks from now, or yeah, 3 weeks from now, is just they're scheduled already, right? Like
Yeah.
it's a very it's an interesting culture.
I think for the final big run that we had a couple of months ago, I had like a completely full schedule for the whole like 48 hours with like a designated like 2 to 3 hour breaks and obviously like a like an overnight break for sleeping. But it's like I had like a note on my phone with all the different squads that I was playing with and I was trying to play with as many different people as possible and I'm not doing that again.
It just seems
It's
so
quite a lot
stressful.
to ask. It is, and I feel like in my case as well, I try to play with many different people. I sort of get asked to collab with people quite often as well, and I'm trying to like spread myself too thin. But I think this time I'm just gonna sit and freelance.
My team has a calendar. we
Do,
that we
do you?
yeah, we have a calendar that we use for our team.
Wait, that's so cool. That's so organized. I love that.
This is why I don't overfish.
Yeah.
I can't schedule. I just ping people when I want to play, and that's the overfishers. They never play with me because of that.
Before I got into content creation, I really wanted to make a team for Salmon Run because I think you mentioned this earlier, Leo, like playing with a team and like it's really good and it feels really rewarding. But my schedule is so, I don't know the best word to describe it. So I feel like I can never have the same time free every single week. But it'd be really rewarding to play with the same people over and over.
Yeah, I love being on a team. We've been a team for, I said December 2022. It's been almost 2 years now, and
Yeah.
it's been a really good experience. I don't think my PvP teams ever lasted this long.
I was about to say, PvP teams last maybe like 2 months if you're lucky at this point.
Mm.
Out of all the special like Salmon Run things that Nintendo has given, from extra works to big runs to everything else, like is there one that's like your favorite to always play? Or are they all just kind of grouped together? Like you just love playing it in general?
I know what Leo's gonna say. Leo doesn't like extra work.
No, I don't.
The overfisher doing a scenario-based tournament does not like extra work.
Well, it's a lot different to play a scenario one time
Yeah.
than 48 hours.
Yeah.
I think extra work is the thing that has done the most in terms of showing people that they can think about Salmon. I think to a wider audience, introducing them to really trying to optimize their eggs is where extra work has helped the most. But personally, it's not the events. I'd say it's the full mystery rotations, like all 4 green question marks where you can have absolutely any weapon and preferably not on bay is going to be my favorite rotation because that's the most random, that's the most Salmon Run in my eyes, and that's why I love to play this game.
Right. Actually, that is like a very valid thing that I probably want for Splatoon 4. I would like more green rotations, like completely random, because I really do like the random aspect of it. I love Big Run for that reason. And I really like that challenge that allocated you a random weapon and random gear. I found that so fun. So I quite like it if they did more random weapons.
Oh, that I like that challenge too. In PvP.
All the salmon runners loved that challenge. Everyone I spoke to was like, it's the random weapon challenge, let's go. It's very good.
I would say my favorite event. I think I have to be very personally biased here. I mean, it makes sense, but my world records are on golden rotations, so
Nice.
That's so
those are my
fair.
favorite. Yeah. Shout out to my team. We hold the world record right now. The overall world record.
Let's go.
Do you often trade world records in Salmon Run, or is it like there's just one team or people that are always on top for it?
There is like a group of Japanese players that are very, very good, and they usually hold the majority of the world records. There's like a couple of Japanese teams. But as far as, well, I'll say that Marty's sheet is set up in such a way that each individual map's golden rotation will have its like own little category. So you can't really like break that record because it's only that rotation, right?
Yeah.
So you have to wait for it to come around again, which is like 2 years or something. But for the regular rotation part, I think records have slowed down. It's still like probably a record, individual wave record every week or so, like something like that. But it's not as often as it was, as you can imagine.
Yeah, I think it's important to like also know because Cactus, you haven't seen the Marty page, but there's a lot of records, pretty much for every wave, for every type of rotation you might have, which is like normal weapons, 1 random weapon, 4 random weapons, or golds. That's going to be like 4 times the amount of records. And then you have records for having a shift with no knights, or a shift with 1 knight, or a shift with 2 knights, or a shift with all knights. And then you have records for individual waves, and all for all types of weapon, all of the maps. So you have lots of small categories, and you run all of them at once. Every time you're playing for different categories at the same time. And so there's constantly activity on all of these. We're reaching a point, we're pretty far into the game, where outside of maybe the big run maps, everything is starting to be very, very optimized. But there's still a lot to do and a lot to improve on. And if you look at, we also have records on set seed categories. If you play a scenario code, where you can try to squeeze as much as you can from a single wave, there's potential to do a lot still.
I'll have to check out this doc because I'm intrigued. And like, so like, is this so? How does like this? I mean, obviously, like, if y'all don't have the answer for this, it makes sense because you're not the one making the doc. But like, is this like stuff that gets submitted specifically, or is it like
Yes.
okay?
Yeah.
I was wondering
Yeah,
how
so
is like this
people will
gets kept
send
track.
So it's all done via Twitter because that's where the majority of the Splatoon community, both Western and Japan, are. It's sort of centralized there. And Marty takes submissions from people, so they have to send in screenshots with proof. And then he uploads it. So it's all
Okay.
really, it's him. It's doing it, but he's been doing it since Splatoon 2. So
Got the experience for it.
definitely.
My eyes cannot process this doc. Oh my goodness. It's so just foreign to me. This is incredible.
Yeah, you don't know what to look at. It's cool.
Yeah,
It just goes to show like what a grassroots salmon run community is like.
definitely. Yeah.
It's just a Google spreadsheet.
I have my own Google spreadsheet. Speaking of
Yeah.
something I didn't mention before is we mentioned Chazzy does scenario testing, and they've vetted several seeds for us to play in the tournament.
Mhm.
But where do they get those seeds from? Like, we don't have a seed editor, right? So a project that I worked on was making a easy way to convert scenario codes into accessible data. So I have a database of several thousand codes that I got from primarily Sadface. I want to shout out Sadface here for getting me all the data, because Nintendo makes it so time consuming to save all the scenarios and then delete all the scenarios. And then what my code does is it takes a video of you scrolling through all of your scenarios, however many there are, and it converts them into data that now we have in a database uh, for a lot of variety in codes theoretically. But I started that project a long time ago, and it was always for the purpose of tournaments, for TOs to be able to pick whatever kind of special scenario they wanted, or if they wanted something, whatever they wanted, they would be able to have it. And I'm happy that it's getting some use.
It's so cool just opening like the world of Salmon Run to me. Like this is like incredible. I'm learning so much. I love this.
You know where else you could learn more?
What?
If you go find Leo's YouTube channel, you can find more. And also, if you find my YouTube channel, you can find more. I'll plug myself.
Honestly,
I don't
valid
have a
plug.
YouTube channel. But I won't go.
You do have a Twitch though. I do. I think I follow almost all of you on Twitch.
Yeah, I haven't streamed for a little while because I've been having internet problems, but I will stream soon,
So
hopefully.
valid.
But yeah, like it just kind of sucks. But that's why I've been concentrating more on YouTube. But yeah, if anybody wants to learn more about overfishing, they should go to Leo's channel. And if you want to learn more about freelance, you can come to my channel.
And if you want to see me do like stupid things in freelance, you can just follow me on Twitch, I guess. I'm not as good as them.
Pat doesn't sell himself. He also does a lot of casting for a lot of PvP tournaments. So
Yeah. I'm better at talking about the game, but I haven't playing it.
I feel that so much.
I feel like I'm getting to that point now. I feel like I don't know if anybody else does it, but I feel like the more you concentrate on content, the less you concentrate on competitiveness or like pushing yourself to get better, right? Because you
Mhm.
can't do both. They're
Mm.
both incredibly time consuming. So I've kind of gone the content way as much as I wanted to really focus in overfishing for Splatoon 3. That was one of my main goals. I'm now sort of like, actually, content creation works better for my times, for my like schedule. So it's fine.
I'm here for it though. We don't have like a lot. I feel like we don't have as much Salmon Run content as
Mhm.
should there be. So I
No,
see
there's
that as an
like
absolute
5 of
win.
us.
Yeah, I was about to
Yeah.
say. I see that as an absolute win, regardless.
Awesome.
And to get back onto this tournament and the way it relates to content, if you go onto YouTube, you'll be able to find some other fishing content, but all the other fishing content will be one of two things. One, it will be the long grind, where you see the whole of the fishing session. You can watch that live at any of the fishers' channel. And that's pretty nice because you get to see the long run, how they're trying to optimize every single wave, how they're trying to find that one game that's going to be it. The second content that you can watch is the highlight of a fishing session, and where you know that every game you're going to watch is going to be one of the best Salmon Run games ever. I mean, they're truly incredible to watch. I think we're here to bring you a third content, which is the next wave. You don't know if it's going to be the best game of the day or if it's going to be the worst game of the day, but whether it is that or not, it's going to be the game that decides the tournament. So you want to watch it, and you honestly, I've watched a lot of overfishing because I really like this game. Watching it in a competitive settings, as we managed to do on the episode zero of Snatch and Run, you really look at the game differently because you know that every move is, you don't know if it's going to be perfect or if it's going to be a failure, but every move is important and you pay much more attention to that, and you notice so much more about what these other fishers do, and they do so much at the same time all the time. I don't know if I made myself clear.
You did. It's a
Yeah.
very good explanation. Yeah. Yeah.
That sounds like so exciting that like you don't know what it's gonna be, but it's gonna like literally defy everything. I love that.
Mm.
That's the thing, is that salmon runners, they're used to playing a marathon
Mhm.
of playing the long game and grinding it for over and over, whereas PvP players, like they play a long time as well, but it's really these next 5 minutes I need to do my best because these next 5 minutes decide whether I stay in the tournament or not, which is not something that is very present in Salmon Run. It is not something you see that often in Salmon Run. I hope we can bring that to Salmon Runners and see if they enjoy it.
Mm.
I will say something that is kind of similar and not quite the same, but kind of similar is when you have a very high score for the first two waves. That's when the adrenaline hits you. The third wave, you're like, "Oh,
Mm.
we gotta get this done." That's the only thing that's close though, because otherwise, you have a bad wave. You can just quit that shift. Because what harm is it gonna do to you? Just play the next one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Gotta play it efficiently and get the efficient time, and that's.
Yeah, it happens very often at the end of especially a special rotation where we're all just kind of tired and don't want to play the bad the bad ships. So if it's like rush, we're like, yeah, we're just gonna throw this, play the next one.
Yep.
That's so valid. Alright, for me personally, I don't think I have any more questions that I could think of. So this is the point where I like to offer the table, the mic to all of you to say whatever you'd like, mention what you'd like. I'd say shout out whoever you'd like, but you all have already done a good amount of shouts, but feel free to say them again, whatever you'd like. But yeah, the floor is yours. Whatever you'd like to say.
Who's
Everyone should
going
come
first?
out. Everyone should come out and watch. It's a Saturday. It's 10 a.m. or wait, I should say 11 a.m. EST, 5 p.m. CET. Come out and watch.
Oh, is it 5 p.m. CET?
Is it? Am I getting it wrong?
No, you're right. I have
No.
it pulled up. 11 a.m. ES. That's what it says on the thing anyway that they tweeted.
Okay. Yeah.
I
Oh,
blocked the
that-
whole day. I don't care. I'll be there.
Oh, I'm so glad you told me that. I thought it was at 5 p.m. GMT. So thank you very much.
Well, about the tournament, I think that Salmon Run, the gameplay speaks for itself. And we can try to tell you, oh, it's so cool to watch because they're constantly moving perfectly. They're so coordinated. It's like they're dancing and adapting to everything that's happening. They see the hardest waves and they stay on top of it and control everything that's happened. But the gameplay speaks for itself. Seriously, if you don't know much about Salmon Run, if you're not that interested, just peek into the stream. Just watch the stream for 1 or 2 games, and I guarantee you'll be hooked. I guarantee you will be hooked. And I've seen Rachel was talking about a Salmon Run tournament we had at Splat Legacy in the UK LAN more than a week ago now, and we didn't manage to show it to the stream because of technical issues, but we had enough to show it to the live audience. And so many people in the audience were like, oh, I didn't know it was so fun and interesting to watch this. And people had no idea that it was so cool to watch Salmon Run. And it wasn't teams as good as the teams we're going to have this weekend. So really, just come watch 2 games. Watch 2 games, and I guarantee you'll watch more.
Yes, if you come and watch us this weekend, then you'll also get to hear me and Pat talk.
Yay.
We can talk about Salmon Run for hours, and we can talk about anything for hours, quite frankly. But I think one of the nicest things about doing this is I get to do this with a friend that I really respect, and that is also as involved and sort of excited about it as I am, and that's really nice to do someone who has the same energy and things. And it's also nice to have that from Leo and from the other people working behind the scenes as well, that we're all kind of like really like, yes, we want to do it, we're obsessed with this, we're like giving up so much of our free time to do it and things like that. I haven't been as involved with stuff this one because of in real life stuff, but like I'll be there on Saturday commentating it with Pat, and we'll be discussing everything that happens. And I'm just really excited for it. And yeah, if you have some spare time on Saturday, please come and watch the fruits of our labor. And watch us be really excited about Salmon Run as well. Like I can just I'm happiest when I'm talking about Salmon Run. So we're gonna have a good time.
Absolutely. We'll see Pat, Rachel on the mic, Leo playing as well. And I know I'm going to have to tune in for sure. I don't believe I have anything going on Saturday unless I read my schedule wrong. So being able to catch something that's not regular Splatoon is going to be exciting. And it is going to be on the Dapple Production channel. So for those that are watching, same place, different time to tune into some Salmon Run. And I do want to give a huge thank you to all of you, Pat, Rachel, Leo, for coming on and discussing the Salmon Run event. I'm super excited to really watch it. You all have also taught me some stuff that I need to tweak in my brain about playing salmon.
Anytime, any questions, come to the stream, ask us.
I'll be like mid salmon. I'll be like playing Big Ryan. I'll just be like, hey, so question about this.
Honestly, dude, you would be the first, so it's fine. Be like, what's this?
Wait, just went horribly wrong. Can I just ask your opinion on why?
Oh, VOD reviews. Yeah, that's something else we want to do with Salmon Run. That's
Salmon
something else we
VOD
want to do.
reviews. Wait, that sounds
Yes.
so
I
goated.
do.
Leo
I
does
do
it.
VOD reviews on my channel. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd get cooked. I'd be cooked. Oh, it's over. It'd be over for me.
I did it for a short while on my stream where I had people submit freelance footage about like any advice they wanted about like why they failed a wave in freelance, because I believe that the majority of waves in freelance are winnable, and it's something that you can control. And so like I was doing that for a little while before my internet got bad. So I'm really looking forward to doing that again.
I can't wait for you to do that again. I have a capture card now.
Yeah.
I want to send it.
But if you want overfishing VOD reviews, Leo does them. So it's like it's really worth getting the opinion of someone who holds world records. Like you could have that, you know?
I was about to say, like, we should do a quick run. I think that was mentioned earlier, but quick rundown of where everyone could find you guys, social media wise, content wise, just so if anyone wants to see these types of things, they know where to find it.
I guess I'll go first. I mainly, I'm only on YouTube at Leonidas XLII, Roman numeral 42. It's also XLII
Oh.
on Twitter and Blue Sky. I'm more active on Blue Sky now, but yeah, in case you didn't know, Rachel.
Yeah,
that's
it
what
just
is.
connected the dots. In my defense, it's 1 a.m. here.
Yeah, well, you can find me on Twitch at Padj or Tom with Padj_R_Tom. You can also find me on Twitter at the same address, but I'm using Twitter less and less. I'm using more and more of Blue Skies, where you need to remove your underscores. It's just Padj or Tom all together.
You can find me at mainly the place that I'm most active now is YouTube, because I'm not streaming. I'm on a streaming hiatus. So YouTube at Richelski. It's got 7 eyes. It's not Roman numerals. It's a dumb, silly name from my Halo days. I wish I could change it, but it's stuck now.
Too far
So I
gone
make
now.
videos. I am, dude. It's been like 15 years, so I'm just not changing it.
Valid.
And if anybody wants to know why it's 7 eyes, it's because it's a Halo reference, the number 7. That's why. So it's 7 eyes on YouTube, on Twitch. I am on Twitter, I am on Blue Sky, but to be honest with you, I'm not really keen on social media that much this year anymore. So the best place to catch me is YouTube. So, or in the Salmon Run server. I'm always in there, actually, on Discord. You can find me there. I like chatting about Salmon Run. So yeah.
I am pretty active in the overfishing server. I'm a
Mhm.
coach there. So yeah, I forgot to mention that.
Yes, please. If you want overfishing advice, go to the overfishing server and find people like Leo. They're more than happy to bring people in.
I'm gonna have to infiltrate these servers just to get a look at it because now I'm so curious. I know what the regular PvP servers are like. You have your pickup, you have your whatever, but Salmon servers, I'm gonna have to infiltrate. I have to do some scope of work.
You do, and with the overfishing server, I'll just quickly mention they've
Mhm.
got whole channels and categories about different types of things. So, like, if you want like strats about mothership, it will have like a whole dedicated section to mothership and things like that. So it's less sort of I don't know what PvP discords are like. I try not to go in them. But like I find the Salmon Run stuff, the information for you to improve your gameplay is there and really easily accessible once you're in a Discord server. I mean, the conversation about why it's locked behind Discord servers is for another time. But once you're in there, you don't have to necessarily talk to people if you don't want to. You could just read what people are sharing, information, strats, and guides and things. So that's really helpful as well.
There's a huge doc for beginners, or even if you're not a beginner, but huge doc written by Marty, mostly, I believe.
Oh yeah.
Overfishing strategies. If you want to start and you have some time to read, that is the doc for you.
The Salmon Run Bible.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was gonna ask,
Yeah.
what is where could we find access to these servers?
Good question.
Good question.
I mean, Our fishing server is public.
Because
public.
is there like a Salmon Run site that has a lot of information? Like you have
Ah,
like
Actually, yes.
Salmon, yeah, literally. I know this is so bad of me. I
W?
can't believe it's taken me this long.
Yeah.
Salmonrun.inc. Literally, salmonrun.inc. Please visit that website. It's a community created website that has everything that we've spoken about on. It has links to streamers, links to content creators, links to tournaments, tutorials, scenario codes, bingo boards, everything. And you will find links to Discord servers there as well.
This is such a cool
It's
website. Holy.
and it's
Yeah.
made to be for people who are new to the Salmon Run community. So if you don't know much about Salmon Run, it's a perfect place to start. It has the links to the hardcore Salmon Run servers
Yeah.
on there. So if you wanted to go full overfishing, that's a good starting point. And whatever you want from Salmon Run, that's a perfect place to start.
Yes. Yes.
A long time ago, I made beginner's guides for like competitive stuff. I might have to like make a beginner's guide video about Salmon Run because this is incredible. I love this. This site is so straightforward too. Like everything's here. Oh, it's so colorful.
Shout outs to Whack.
Yeah.
Whack is the brains behind it, and he's been helping us quite a lot with this tournament too. So
Wait, is he like the head?
he made the website. He probably doesn't want me to
Oh.
dox him.
Wow,
He
I
keeps
didn't
it
know
quiet.
that.
There's a lot of people that have helped out, like with some of the discussion about like strats and things. We've all sort of done submissions, but he's the brains behind it. Yeah.
That was really cool. I didn't know that.
Mm.
I could put that in the chat there, so if anyone would like to check it out, that will be in the chat. And this VOD will end up going on YouTube, so I'll make sure to put it in the description as well for anyone that might be watching this back that is curious about getting into Salmon Run. That link provides so much good information. Definitely worth checking out.
Mm. Yeah, I can't believe it took us almost 2 hours to mention Salmon Run Inc. But we mentioned it right at the end, so
Yeah.
happy days.
When it matters.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, well, that's everything from me. And if that's everything from you all, again, one final time, thank you so much to all three of you for coming on out and sharing your love for Salmon Run. Once again, the Salmon Run event, Snatch Run, this Saturday, the 30th. Twitter, pull up the thing again because I forgot the time. At 11 a.m. EST, 5 p.m. CET. Aha, there you go, brain working. Come check it out. Obviously on Dapple Production's Twitch channel we're here at right now. Feel free to watch top level Salmon Run players do what they do best, and of course watch Pat and Rachel talk about Salmon Run as experienced players in that field. So with that being said, thank you all for watching this episode of the Cactus Patch, and we will see all of you next time. Goodbyes. And